It's election day, and a lot of people are really mad at me, so I figured I'd go ahead and piss everybody off and explain why your politics make you a widow baby for every political orientation in the US, including my own. Political labels like socialists have meant a lot of different things in a lot of different time periods, but I'm going to be talking about them the way I've experienced them in the US in my personal life. And I'm not going to be defining them besides what's on this chart. So we've got authoritarianism and anti-authoritarianism on the y-axis, and we've got the left and the right on the x-axis. Let's start in the far upper right corner with conservatives. Conservatives are widow babies because they're scared. That's not just me saying that. Numerous psychological studies have found that conservatives are more fearful than all these other people. And I think it's because conservatives have not confronted the fundamental fact of their mortality. That's why being fundamentally religious and conservative goes hand in hand. They just really don't want to confront the fact that the most fundamental truth of the universe is that you're going to die and everything and everyone you care about is going to change. Because of this, conservatives are terrified of change and they reflexively reject all change. But the ironic thing is that the more they plug their ears and go la 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 la, the more they ensure that the change that is inevitable will be radical and violent and extremely destructive to everything they hold dear. See, climate change. Now, liberals and conservatives both want to be special. They want to be better off than at least 50% of the global population. You want to be a little bit or a lot bit wealthier, healthier, more comfortable, own more and better things, and be more educated than the majority of other people on the earth. You do not want to share, not really. You don't want equality, not really, not if it means giving up any of your comforts. But at the same time, unlike conservatives, liberals demand to feel altruistic and generous and morally superior while they're also hoarding an unfair share of wealth and comfort. Like a 4-year-old on a soccer team who gets praised when they kick the ball into their own goal, you want to be praised for fighting fascism and defending democracy while you overlook the slavery, violence, genocide, and ecocide that makes your lifestyle possible. And you have absolutely no intention of giving up one iota of your comfort or privilege. Next up is progressives. It's so cute. You think you're part of the left? It's adorable that you still believe in the long arc of history bending towards justice. But what's less cute is the way that the narratives you tell, like the steady expansion of civil rights in the United States, they erase inconvenient truths, like the fact that American wealth is powered now in 2024 by more enslavement than at any point in history. It's just that slavery has been hidden away behind prison walls and in the global South. You care about suffering, but only the suffering you choose to see. Put another way, when a conservative sees a homeless person, they think, lousy bum, get a job. When a liberal sees a homeless person, they feel deeply uncomfortable because it's bringing up the cognitive dissonance within themselves, and they get really angry at the mayor and wish the mayor could disappear that homeless person. And progressives, when they see a homeless person, you might sign a petition for affordable housing. You might even work really hard on a campaign for affordable housing, but when it comes to millions of people losing their homes in the Middle East because they're being bombed by your taxpayer dollars, you just think, that's outside my scope. Socialists. It is adorable the way you think we can get control of the means of production by checks notes, asking elites nicely. You'll really think that a capitalist representative democracy, according to its own rules, is ever going to allow us to have things like healthcare, a sustainable world, an end to homelessness and poverty in the US, or forever wars abroad? To prove your ideas are workable, you're probably going to point to Scandinavian countries, but you believe in them like you believe in Santa Claus, refusing to see the labor put in by your parents. You don't see how Scandinavia are white supremacist ethno-states. They benefited from European colonialism without having to get their hands particularly bloody, and they only managed to maintain a socialist capitalist ethno-state through strict white supremacist immigration controls, which keeps all the capitalist violence that props up their economy firmly out of sight in the global South. A society like that will never be allowed to come to pass in the US, where colonized people are all mixed up with their colonizers. And through your myopic focus on domestic policy and accepting the validity of domestic borders and the democratic processes of imperialist ethno-states, there is a fundamental violence to socialism that y'all refuse to see. You want revolutionary change, but you're afraid of revolution. Grow up and either admit that you love the status quo or adopt a revolutionary politics. Which brings me to communists. Congratulations. You are grown up enough to be willing to share. Unlike all these people, you are committed to actual justice and equality worldwide. You are also grown up enough to understand the nature of capitalism, and you accept that it will not go down without a fight, probably knowing capitalists a pretty bloody one. And unlike all these people, you stand a chance of actually preventing the far-right drift of the world. But you're still a widow baby because you want parents. You believe in authoritarianism. Yes, you do. You want a strong central party, a hierarchical military to give those capitalists a good spanking. You want Big Daddy Marx or Castro or Stalin to come in and make your revolutionary dreams a reality. How do you not see that contained in that plan are the seeds of the sabotage of the revolution that you're dreaming of? Because what you don't understand is the fundamental nature of elites. Any party leader or general that you have in your Communist Party will become an elite. And human behavior is incredibly universally predictable when it comes to elites. Give someone a little more power and they're going to want a little bit more. So any elite people that emerge in your Communist Party will eventually start walking over this way. They're going to walk this way. And some of you are out here trying to actually convince us that this process hasn't happened in China, that China is still some communist nation. If that's the case, why are there so many Chinese billionaires? Because you want parents and because you can't imagine human organization without authoritarianism. Any revolution you create will be short-lived, and whatever elites emerge will very quickly start walking right back over towards capitalism and fascism. So now let's talk about some groups that don't want parents. Libertarians don't need a mommy and daddy. Libertarians are big boys. They've got 10 buckets of dehydrated food and a couple AR-15s in their crawl space, and they're ready to be the warlord of their own apocalyptic fantasy. But to me, that looks not that different from a kid who tells his parents he's running away from home and packs a couple comic books and one peanut butter sandwich in his backpack. The libertarians I've met tend to be totally oblivious to their own privilege. They don't see all the invisible labor that goes into their lifestyles, and they truly think they can get by on their own without collaborating or cooperating with anyone else. But to me, they look like those, when you take a toddler and you put them up on your shoulders and then they actually believe they're 7 feet tall. And they also don't seem to have thought through how any elite warlords that emerge here aren't going to just want to be even more elite and start that walk towards fascism that elites always do. Now, anarchists are the only group actually diametrically opposed to fascism. Like communists, they believe in sharing. Like libertarians, they don't want a mommy and daddy. Anarchists believe that we can govern ourselves. Anarchists believe in direct democracy, not representative democracy. All of us get to make all the decisions we want. That means we're going to have to collaborate and communicate and debate and compromise and sacrifice and share without any authority forcing us to get along. Now let me say that another way. Anarchists are widow babies because they actually think that we, human beings, us, can be grown-ups and get along. Get real, am I right? Okay, but I'm an anarchist, even though I know how ridiculous that sounds, because they're the only ones who can describe a world I want to live in. Fuck your authoritarian regime, whether it's left or right. I don't want any part of it, and I don't want to live in some fucked Mad Max fantasy either. Finally, widow babies, if you want to win a signed first edition hardcover copy of my anarchist sci-fi novel, The Free People's Village, donate at least $5, but as much as you are able to Al-Lad, which is supporting Palestinian families living in Cairo with meeting their basic needs. Donate as much as you can, but a minimum of $5 to the link that's the first fundraiser link in my bio, and send a screenshot of your receipt to t4gaza@gmail.com to be entered to win this gorgeous anarchist book. And finally, I'd like to apologize to all the widow babies of the world, because widow babies aren't fascist. They're wonderful, luminous little balls of potential and goodness, and it's up to all of us to keep fighting to make them a much, much better world.